Hello, everybody. It's George Wallace, crazy George Wallace, and you're viewing, listening, watching Jim on Base right here and right now.
Hey, it's Ryan from the Jim on Base Show, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friends at Claim to Fame. They have some of the best jackets out there that I love to wear. You can rock them for date night, a casual outing with friends, or even while doing a podcast. They're lightweight, they're durable, and perfect for any setting. My favorites are the dark blue, the olive shade, and if you want to switch things up and go for a lighter color, one of my favorite go-tos is the Pacific Blue. So check them out at claimtofame.com for all their different styles. The next time you step out, you'll be feeling good with Claim to Fame. Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. For today's very special guest, we have on one of the comedy greats. He's performed all over the world as a stand-up comedian. He's been on shows like The Tonight Show, Late Night with David Letterman. He's been in movies, sitcoms like Seinfeld. He's in Clean Slate right now with the great Laverne Cox. Please welcome the great George Wallace. George, thanks for coming on.
Everybody. Thank you so much, Jim. I'm on base now. Let's roll.
Well, I got to ask, what are you up to? You got a lot going on these days, right?
I'm enjoying life. I'm in New York City, and if you can't have fun in New York City, you can't have fun at all. I'm going to do a show in a few hours called Have I Got News for You with my great friend, Roy Woods Jr. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to do Family Feud this week. I'm pretty busy. We've been in Washington, D.C. I'm going to go down and see what's wrong. I'm going to go and find Elon Musk, and it's going to be some smoke in the city. You hear what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm pretty busy this week. I'm having fun. I'm performing at the Improv in Washington, D.C. We're at a show. We got 5 shows this weekend, and it's going to be wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, you talk about Elon Musk there. I remember I saw you at the Hollywood Improv a few months back, and you said you might even run for president one of these days, right?
Well, my job, I wanted to be the greatest BSer in the world. I wanted to be the greatest. I prayed to God, let me be the greatest bullshitter ever. And God did get back to me. He says, Trump beat you to that one. And so, so that's that. So I'm number 2 now. So yeah, I just said I'm going to run for president. There's a lot of things that I would do. I would like to do. What do people need and what the climate of America is right now. Comedians should be in charge because we know what the people need and give back to the people. Just take care of the people. The hell you want to take away Social Security from all the work I put in, all the work you put in. They want to take our money. That's my money. That's not your money. Yeah. Give me my money. And I'm a Christian comedian, but it'll make you want to fucking cuss.
Well, speaking of cussing, you got to keep it clean, right? You're going to be on Family Feud, so that's got to be fun.
Well, you can say little things like, I'm basically a clean comedian. I use the word of a friend of mine in Atlanta, Georgia, a rapper by the name of Waka Flocka. So I don't say the MF. I can use Waka Flocka. It's just as strong. So that's me. So I say I cuss, but I don't cuss that much. I used that word a few seconds ago just to enhance my thoughts.
Well, do you have like a little mustache you can stick on, like your Steve Harvey mustache, or how does it work?
No, I don't do the Steve Harvey. I'm doing Waka Flocka. Remember, Waka Flocka playing. Steve Harvey, I'm going to do the show. We'll have some fun. I want to do the show. Laverne Cox is going to do it with me. Some young DC Young Fly, some funny people with me. Cheryl Underwood from The Talk. It's going to be really good. Kim Whitley, a good friend of mine. We're born on the same day at July 21, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Nice. But today, I'm with you. This is the most important thing. What's happening right now, right here.
Well, you're on base. You're rounding third headed home, right?
Since you brought up the base, that's the thing that's been bothering me for the past 4 years. And they want to shorten the game in baseball, right? Mm-hmm. So they did adopt one of my policies. I wanted to stop throwing the ball down for a walk. Finally, they got that. Just tell the guy, go ahead on out. Go ahead. Go. Just go ahead on. So that was wasting 4 balls in time. What was that? That's 10 seconds, right? Yeah. So we get the game by 10 seconds. The next one I want to do, instead of singing the whole national anthem, just go, hey, and you're done, And then everybody knows what's coming next. And then the third way I want to shorten the game is when a guy hits a home run, why the hell should he have to run around those damn bases to get back to where he just come from? If he hits a home run, there's guys on bases, he can stand right there and greet them and high-five them. That'll cut down on, 30 seconds, 40 seconds on the game. And then I want to install a 9-2-30 rule in baseball, 9-2-30. 9 innings or 2.5 hours, whichever comes first.
I like that.
You start at 7 o'clock, you're going to be out of there at 9:30 no matter what. I don't care if the guy's standing up there to hit a grand slam. Bing! 9:30.
I think you'd make it interesting as a commissioner because I see you got the WrestleMania shirt on, so you'd probably throw some entertainment into the game somehow too.
Without a doubt. And now, WrestleMania, we now have Linda McMahon as Secretary of Education. And she uses it A1 sauce like crazy on her steaks.
Well, you're a big guy. I ran into you. We said before we started, I was in LA at the same time, saw you at the Improv. And then the next day, I went to this party at the Godfrey Hotel. And who comes out of the elevators but you? And you're a big guy. So are you a basketball player or?
No, I'm 6 feet 12. I'm not a basketball. I'm not a basketball player. I'm just I'm 6'4". I am 300 pounds. I enjoy life, and I'm the biggest pussycat ever. I'm just a big guy. That's all. I eat a lot, and I laugh a lot.
Well, I thought it was interesting because you had the Knicks jacket on. So are you a big Knicks fan or?
I'm a, every day you see me with a different sports jacket on. That particular day, I did have on a New York Knicks jacket, leather jacket, and today I'm in New York City. I live here, so yesterday I'm a Knicks fan, and we might do pretty good in the playoff.
Yeah, exactly. You got some. You might be in for a run this year. Well, who are your favorite teams and players growing up? I imagine you're a big sports fan. Then it sounds like.
Well, I'm born and raised in Atlanta,
There we
and
go.
we have the best team in baseball until this year. We're not doing that well right now. Matter of fact, we're in last place. We're like 6.5 games out, New York Mets, but I think we can come together. We always come together at the end, but it's the beginning of the season. We're 6 out. That could be trouble for us.
Hmm.
We lost a few players. One of our pitchers, the great pitchers, went to the Yankees, and of course, Freddie Fields is with the Dodgers. I'm predicting that the Dodgers should win 132 games. It used to be 130, 132. They
Hmm.
got everything they need. I don't even think it's they've lost like a few games, but they're going to be there. You can trust. You can believe that the Dodgers all the way.
Yeah, I hate the Dodgers because I'm in the Bay Area, so I'm a big Giants fan. And lately, we're looking up all the time at the Dodgers, but we're keeping it interesting so far. We started off hot.
Well, aren't you good? Who's in first place now? You,
Dod
Giants?
Dodgers are still up top. They've only lost, I think, like 4 games, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that's all they're going to lose the rest of the year. Sorry. Great
Yeah.
area for sports. You know, my nephew came from that area. Amani Tuma played football up there for De La Salle. Is that it? Amani Tuma played for the New York Giants
Mm.
football.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got. And then was it your brother? Or did he, Steve? He played for the 49ers,
Honestly,
right?
for the 49ers, 13 years. Yeah, 3 Super Bowl rings. I
Wow.
actually have 7 Super Bowl rings in my family, if you didn't know that.
Wow. No,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Bobby Hamilton played for the New England Patriots. That's my nephew. And Amani Tuma for the New York Giants, number 81, my nephew. So
Wow.
my mama played football.
Well, do you ever get to put the rings on or?
Well, the rings were at the family reunion about 3 years ago. My family reunion is very large, and I wanted my kids to see a lot of successful people in the family. Instead of going on a family picnic, we had a culture, a career day. And we have so many professionals in my family. And I brought the 7 Super Bowl rings because I wanted the kids to see it. And I have an aunt that's 101 years old. She said, "To hell with those kids. I've never seen 7 Super Bowl rings." So she pushed the kids. You kids wait. And everybody it was just awesome to have. I don't think there's a family in America that can have, well, there's somebody else that has more than 7 Super Bowl rings, but very few.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's got to be up there.
yeah, on this place. So it's awesome having 7 Super Bowl rings in the family.
Yeah, did you ever come out to the Bay Area, like the Candlestick, to see your brother play, or?
Are you crazy? I went up there. I became a little crazy because I thought if I attend the game, if they lose, I'm bad luck.
Hmm.
So I went up there, and that did happen one time. I got to stay away from these games because if I go, I just feel that if they lose, I feel bad about it. But yeah, I come up there many times. Cold Candlestick Park,
Yeah.
and that was really cold. I come up there for a lot. I come up to see the Giants play in that beautiful park they have, and I even went over to see the A's play
Mm.
over there across the river. So I've
Yeah.
seen a lot in that area.
I know sometimes players like or comedians they get to sometimes perform in front of their favorite teams or kind of get them going in the locker room. Have you done a lot of that through your career?
I've never been to the locker room, but I've done a lot, and I've seen a lot of the sport guys and going to the Super Bowls and all of that. I've attended 7 Super Bowls, and
Mm.
I've been pretty busy, and I've seen a lot. And I've been to boxing, any major sporting events. I'm blessed to say I've been to the Super
Nice.
Bowl. I've been to World Series. I've been to, this year I was at Paris at the Olympics. I was
Mm,
at the 5 Olympics, and that's pretty cool. I was at
yeah.
Atlanta. I was in Los Angeles in the 80s. And where else did I go? I went to uh, Australia, and I went to Barcelona. And this year I was in Paris.
You and Flavor Flav holding it down.
Oh, hey, Flavor Flav. My clock is not as big as his clock, but I love it. Flavor Flav and Snoop Dogg got all the press over there this year. He was really, really good. Enjoyed that, and we had a wonderful time at the Olympics. And I went to the field and track events, and
Mm,
I got a seat on the front row. Can you believe that?
wow.
On the front row, all of the Americans that would win, they come at the end of the track and they would win, and they came right over to me and gave me a hug. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
With
that's
the
amazing.
flag. That was so awesome. I just enjoyed that.
Well, before all this began, I thought it was interesting. What was your first job? Because I know it sounded like you worked at Firestone Tire, right?
I worked at that was in college, Firestone Tire and Rubber. They had a tuition reimbursement plan. I didn't know about that. I said, hey, I got to get in school. If it's going to be free, somebody's going to pay for it. You got to go. And my first degree was in transportation, which a lot of people don't know what that is. Transportation happens to be the number one industry in the world.
Mm,
People go, how? So, well, people fail to realize that nice shirt that you have on your back there got to us through some form of shipping,
mm.
either be water, air, pipeline, truck, or there's 5 of them: trucking, pipeline, water,
Air.
air, and there's five modes of transportation.
And teleportation.
Well, now that's also 5. I didn't do the 5 right. I did the truck, water, air, shipping, and pipeline.
Mm. So you got into that, and then how exactly did you get into comedy? Because it sounds like you eventually moved to New York, right?
Well, I wanted to be a comedian since 6 years old, and I would listen to comedians. Red Fox, great Red Fox, the great Rodney Dangerfield, the great Richard Pryor, the Joan Rivers, Mums Mabley, Judge Meek Markham, comedians that you may not even know about when I was a young kid. And I would take those jokes back to school and make the kids laugh. And anytime you can make the classroom happy, what joy to love that. And when you walk in, everybody knows that's the funny guy. Not necessarily the class clown, but I brought humor. And that's what life is all about. When you stop laughing, you stop living.
Mm.
So I was honoring my essence even at an early age, showing people I love what I want to do. I want to be a comedian the rest of my life. And guess what? I'm living my passion, and I hope you're enjoying what you're doing. You look like you have a smile on your face. That's a good thing. And I
Yeah.
teach the young kids today, make sure you enjoy your life. Just because you got a degree in marketing doesn't mean you got to do statistical analysis the rest of your life. You might enjoy arranging flowers, painting cars, fixing refrigerators, whatever it is, the money will come. Do it,
Mm.
you'll love it. You'll never clock in, you'll never clock out.
Yeah, that's a great point there. And it made me think too, you talk about some of your early influences. I was just in New York City over the weekend and walked by the Ed Sullivan Theater. And,
Uh-huh.
obviously, yeah, I've had musicians on. Everyone always says how one of their biggest moments was seeing the Beatles on TV from there. So did you, as a young comedy fan, have like a Beatles moment for you that kind of inspired you?
When the Beatles first got off that Pan Am flight, I did see it. They did go to the Ed Sullivan Theater. I have been in that Ed Sullivan Theater with
Mm.
Dave Letterman, same theater, and I'm looking at it out of my window, believe it or not. I'm
Oh,
at
wow.
Central Park. I'm on the top floor up here at Central Park West. I'm looking down into Times Square as we speak.
That's pretty surreal.
Life is awesome.
Well, when you moved to New York, was it for work as well, or was it strictly for comedy?
Firestone Tire and Rubber Company would not give me $60 more per month. That was only $15 per week. They wanted to give me $800 a month. I said, no, give me $860. And they wouldn't do it. That was a lot of money back in the day. Okay, they wouldn't do it. Thank God they didn't do it. I may have stayed. I would have gotten married. I had kids in an old, ugly ass house in Akron, Ohio. But I could have been, LeBron James' daddy too. So you got to look at it that way. But yes, I knew I wanted to be a comedian. That was a good way to get me to New York City, where you have to go to do your thing. Everybody comes to New York City to be who they want to be and do what they want to do. And I did. I moved to New York, and my first job was selling rags. I sold real rags. I sold there's a cloth called a chamois. You remember that on TV? I sold that before it had a name back in the 70s. And I sold real rags. I sold the disposable cloth at dentists, the disposable napkins that dentists use for dental work. I sold all kinds of rags, even the rags at the gas stations, everything you needed for a rag. I sold it, disposable rags. Then I was making enough money to sell rags to the New York City Transit Authority, and they had advertising on the buses, and they made about $40,000 more a year selling ads on the buses than I made in selling rags. Wow. So I moved over to become vice president of advertising in New York City, the world's largest outdoor advertising agency. Everything at Times Square, the billboards, spectaculars. I did that back in the 70s. And then I put ads on buses, the 5,000 buses in New York City, 10 top markets in America. And I went to a comedy club one night and I sold them on buses. And I said, I do a little comedy too. And they said, come on back in. The place was called the Comic Strip in New York City on 2nd Avenue. So I came back in on Thursday night, did audition, and I've been on stage ever since.
Wow.
Telling jokes, slinging these jokes. And I got the greatest job in the world. And that took me from the bottom to where I am right now on the mountain. I tell the young kids, don't worry about going to the top of the mountain. Just always be on your way up the mountain. And for 48, 49 years, I'm still standing. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
It's the toughest job in the world to be a comedian. Nobody can do what we do. That's another thing. People say stupid shit. If anybody can do it, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Bullshit. I can't do what you do. Well, I can do what you do. I did radio for years, but just think of funeral director. Being a funeral director. I'm not talking about the deceased bodies. I'm just talking about handling the families, the bullshit you get from the families deciding a funeral. I don't know whether you ever gone through that now. That's funny stuff. That's hell. And it's been just, so I have the greatest job in the world. It's the toughest job. It's the toughest job in entertainment. Let's make it like that. If you're a singer, you got a band backing you up. But if you're telling a joke and the joke doesn't work, you're up there alone. Yeah. It's a tough job, but I love doing it, and I'm blessed to do it. Public speaking is the hardest thing to do in life. They say it's better to be viewed than be speaking over the deceased. So I love what I do. I hope you enjoy. You seem to look like you enjoy what you're doing here on base. Jim, you're on base. Go ahead, still. Go ahead to second. Go to third. Let's move.
Well, I do got to ask, I know during this process, you met the great Jerry Seinfeld, and you were his best man, right? So are you guys best friends?
For 48 years, I can't get rid of him. He called me just before you did. I'm surprised he hasn't interrupted this conversation. But he's in air now. He's moving on to do a gig tonight. And I am here during the gig in New York City. But yeah, I met him. I wish everybody had a friend like him, but he's still an idiot like everybody else. He's more introverted than me. I'm teaching him now to be more outgoing. But most comedians are kind of introverted a little. I just love people. So I did meet him, and I'm best man at his wedding. I'm the real roommate for 13 years too. Let's make that perfectly clear. So I'm the real George that was a roommate for 13 years.
Gotcha.
And I tell everybody I'm also the father of his kids. So we've been close, and we still hang out together. We run the streets together in New York City. We still do the clubs, going out doing new jokes. You'll see him with a little piece of paper, but I keep the legal pad with me, writing new jokes at all times. And we try them out on each other. Do that, do this, do that. And that's a great thing about. And if you're going to have a friend, you might as well have the richest comedian in the world be your friend. They say he's a billionaire. I don't know, but I know he's my friend.
Well, I heard you had some good advice for him, right? He was thinking about building a house, and you had some good advice for him.
Yeah, everybody talks about that joke because he said something stupid. He said that he's going to build him a new house, and he's going to build it from the ground up. And I had to tell him that'd probably be the best way to start building a house, Mr. Seinfeld. Because if you start with a roof, you might run into some problem. But we say that's when I start writing these jokes. People say stupid things, especially here in New York City. Like I live on the 31st floor, and I ordered food from DoorDash the other day, and they delivered the food, and concierge from downstairs calls me and said, "Mr. Wallace, your food is here. Do you want us to send it up?" "No, you keep it. You eat it. You tell me how good my food is. I'll be hungry, but you eat it." And so Anybody say anything stupid, I just love to just tag it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, eventually you get to LA, right? And you do the Comedy Store. Did you have to audition for Mitzi, or how did that all kind of happen?
I did audition for Mitzi, and the real comedy store was closed. They had a Westwood branch, and I went over, and I had been new from New York City. I killed every night in New York City. I came to the Westwood Comedy Store and destroyed. And you know, when you're a young kid, you go over to Mitzi. Hi, I'm George Wallace. I just don't know how did I do. And she says, "Well, you're not right for the club, so we can't use you."
And
Oh
you
my
came all that
God.
way.
Well, I had moved. I had moved. And I said, they said she was a little off. This lady's crazy. I just killed this door in the room. So the next day you're supposed to call in for spots, right? I called the comedy store, 656 6200, something like that. I got 5 spots. Then I said, oh, she's definitely off. She just told me last night I can't work the room. I called today. I got 5 spots out of 7 days. I said, okay. And I've been working there ever since. I worked every club. So maybe she thought we all look alike. Maybe that's what it was. But I worked there. I had fun. And I worked with her until she passed away. And Bud Freeman at the Improv. There's no comedy club I haven't done. And I just like getting along with people. Supposedly, back in the day, if you worked one club, you couldn't work the other. That was the rule. But I worked all the clubs. I don't have time for the bullshit. I'm not going to kiss your ass and not kiss somebody else's ass. Who do you think you are? But they understood I'm a business person. I just want to work. And I've been working 48 years. And as you know, I enjoy going up. You saw me at the Improv. That's for not amateurs, but you saw a lot of good comedians. We go to work on material. Yep. And it's just so good to go up and have fun. And, you know, that's home for me. I go up and I'm just honest and I just tell the people, these are new jokes. They might be funny, might not. I don't give a shit. I'm doing these new jokes tonight. And I started that on Arsenio Hall many years ago. I took my yellow pad out. I said, I got to make sure these jokes work. I'm doing Letterman next week. I need to make sure these jokes are working. So I do have the greatest job in the world. And I talk too much. Talk. Jim, you talk. You're on base.
Well, you've opened up for so many great musicians too, like Smokey Robinson. I was just wondering, why doesn't that happen as much anymore? Musicians teaming up with comedians.
Times have changed. The essence of the business has changed. Back in the day, a comedian, it was a comedian's job was to open for entertainers. That changed quite a bit. You don't see that much anymore. So when you did the Tonight Show, I did the Tonight Show on a Thursday with Johnny Carson, and the next night I was with Natalie Cole in front of 17,000 people. That was the impact of the Tonight Show. Not only did I work for Natalie Cole, I opened for George Benson, Paul Anka, Helen Reddy back in the day. Then I went for Diana Ross and then Tom Jones and Smokey Robinson, you name it. Spinners, everybody. Donna Summer, everybody. I was with Tom Jones for 5 years. And I built up my career where all over America, the casinos and everywhere. I said, okay, now I'm going to go out and do my own show. And then I started doing clubs around America, San Francisco. Oh my God, what's the great club down on the wall in San Francisco?
Punchline or?
I did the Punchline, but there was another one down on the wall before the one they moved to
Cobb's
Comedy Club. Oh my God, was that nice? Everything on the in that area up there, all of the clubs up there, Tummy Tees.
Yeah.
There's no comedy club I haven't worked. Even the one down in the Rooster Teeth Feathers, somewhere down like that. Yeah. So I enjoy working the clubs, and then eventually I did radio. I did a lot of radio. I did WGCI in Chicago. I was #1 in Chicago. I did New York City radio, Washington, D.C. radio. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go to Las Vegas. I went to Las Vegas for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Next thing you know, I'm there 10 years.
Well, like you said, you did a morning show with Isaac Hayes, right?
Yeah, that was Kiss FM in New York City, yes. And then I did that, and then I moved on to me and Wallace and Fox in the morning, Magic 105.1 in New York City. So life has been wonderful. And then I moved to, like I said, when I went to Las Vegas at the Flamingo, after 90 days, I owned the show. So I did not work for the hotels. I owned the show. I did all of the marketing, all the advertising, all of the baby butt kissing, whatever I had to do. I got all of that done. And today I took a little hiatus. I'm out of Vegas, and now I'm doing Clean Slate. Clean Slate, I always wanted to do a TV show. I wanted to reboot Sanford and Son. So I had an opportunity to go to the late, great Norman Lear, Sanford and Son. And he said, well, come back with a twist. Nobody does Sanford and Son. That's not going to be redone, redid, whatever. And I come back with a thought and a twist. And at the time, Orange is the New Black was the big show. Everybody was watching the awards, everybody. Laverne Cox, everybody was talking about her. I did not know. This is New York City. I do both windows, so they're coming to get me because they're looking for you. So that's another thing in New York City. The hospital is down the street. Many signs. The sign says quiet hospital zone. Nothing making noise but the ambulance. Woo!
Yeah, is that Sinai, Mount Sinai, or?
Oh my God, don't you? Mount Sinai. They just sent me an email the other day, said they want more money. You should have got that money while I was there. But so doing that, Laverne Cox, and I said if I had a son down south and went to New York to do his thing, be who he wanted to be, and that's what my son did. And Laverne Cox is now, she came back 23 years later as my daughter, and I had to be educated to learn how she lives her life, and she had to be educated with me, an old man of 23 years, set in my way. So there was a bigger fight, and she come back as a daughter. It was awesome, and so I'm being educated as a father to a daughter, which I didn't know, and surprised me and the whole community and the Black church and everybody. But the great thing is that we learn how to live with each other. Clean slate, meaning both of us can start over. Learning is about tolerance. It's about starting over, forgiveness. And we do it with a purpose, and we did it with humor. And more people are rejoicing in this moment, especially the climate of America today with what's going on in Washington, D.C., and the homophobic and all of this stupid stuff. Just let people live and be who they want to be and enjoy life. So that's what we're doing with Clean Slate. And the message is out there, currently running on Prime Video. You can binge all 8 episodes right now on Prime Video. And I hope you enjoy it. Like most people, we got great reviews everywhere, and everybody is enjoying it. And hey, we hope to spread the word.
Yeah, definitely. Going to be posting some links in there, put it in the bio so people can check it out as well. Well, since we did talk a little bit about musicians you've kind of teamed up with and performed with, since I'm a big music fan, I'm always curious when I have my guests on, who was your very first concert and what kind of music are you into?
My very first concert was Natalie Cole at the time, because you're a great comedian. Well, you're a comedian to come off the Tonight Show. It didn't matter who it was. I'm going to go. And I tell you what, and I went out on the road with her for $1,500 a week. Was that a lot of money back in 1977?
Oh, yeah.
And we were doing it. And then I found out I was supposed to be getting paid $1,500 per night. They were screwing me. My first manager was screwing me. Can you believe that?
What happened?
I read the contract. We got to Canada and said this performer has to pay tax on $1,500 per night. I'm going, wait a second. They've been paying me $1,500 per week. And I took it back, and me and my manager, they fell out, and that was that. And then I started working my agency. The agencies were screwing me off, screwing me at the same time. I had to give a kickback. Wow. But that was with Natalie Cole, and then I moved on to George Benson and other people. And my favorite music is gospel. It's gospel, but I love. I guess you call it pop music. My favorite group of all time was a guy named Sly and the Family Stone. You're not old enough to know about Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh yeah, Bay Area.
Yeah, that's right. He changed the beat of America with and bringing audiences together. Sly and the Family Stone, and I'm fortunate enough to own my show in Las Vegas, and I brought him to the Flamingo.
Wow.
And the odds in Flamingo were 40-1 that Sly and the Family Stone would not show up. He showed up. The original group, everybody but Larry Graham, the bass guy.
Yeah.
All the original members were at the Flamingo. And he was late, okay? He had a reputation for being late, but he was only 20 minutes late. There were people in the audience. The show was just packed and sold out. There were people in the audience going, I knew this was some bullshit. And they were walking out. And I knew he was there because he was upstairs, but he was still 20 minutes late. And so about 3 people walked out, but he finally came down. And let me tell you something. It was the original sound, and it turned in from people being pissed off to tears. People were crying, and he would hit certain songs, and people fall out. They're on top of tables. It was just amazing. And I remember one note: "If you want me to stay, I'll be around." Oh my God! Then of course they went in a higher. "Wanna take you higher?" Dance to the music, and it's just like he only did 20 minutes and walked off stage. That's all I wanted, 20 minutes. And I went on. How about the great slide in the Family Stone? And the next thing you know, he was gone around the room and came from the front, walking down to the stage and blew the room away again. It was awesome to have Sly and the Family Stone there. I had War open for me, Jennifer Holliday, and I am telling you, so many people, George Wallace, I'd be thinking show in Las Vegas was really great, did it for 10 years, left on a successful note, and went back for 5 years. And maybe I'll go back again. I don't know, but I love Las Vegas. I love personal appearances. Live shows are just beautiful for me.
Well, it made me wonder, before you get to that, when I have comedians on, I like to ask, what do you remember about your first open mic and how did it go?
Well, it went very well. I didn't know what I was doing. I went on as a minister, as a preacher in a robe, and I had a yellow page phone book. If you're old enough to remember, a phone book was that thick in New York City, and that was my Bible, the Reverend George Wallace and the Good Book of Bell. Whatever you need, look it up in the book. You want some shoes? Look it up. Let your fingers do the walking. Look it up through the book. I did that. And I would always have a joyful room, lively room. I would open the show with I walk in the room singing "When the Saints Go Marching In," and the audience would go crazy with me. "Oh, when the Saints go marching in," and the audience was clapping and just have some fun, and that was just great from day one. Then I moved away from the character into becoming George Wallace in Los Angeles, and I just started writing jokes, and I started writing for the Red Fox show. So I wrote for Red Fox. I did those jokes for a year, and then that show went off, and then I just started doing my performance and doing the comedy stores and comedy rooms all over America. I'm one of the first comedians that demanded money for the door. Back when we started, we got nothing.
Yeah.
After I did the Tonight Show and all of that, and I started doing comedy clubs. I said, "Well, give me the door, and you take the food and beverage. Give me the door." And if they had a full room and 5 shows on Saturdays, who wouldn't take that deal?
Yeah.
So I'm one of the first ones to, especially one of the first blacks to demand money in the room and open the door and pave the way for the young kids today that are doing it today. And I thank God every day for Red Fox and Sammy Davis Jr. and Lena Horne for doing it for me. And now I've gotten to the point where I want to die like Red Fox and Sammy Davis Jr. I want to die just like, they died broke. They died broke. And I kind of figure, they owe the government money. And I thought, if you die owing the government $800,000, $900,000, you did pretty good.
You did some damage.
And they came and took all of his stuff. Hell, he dead. They don't know what they're different. Yeah. So it's good to have learned through the history that they went through. They paved the way, and they can even go to the front door at the very room they worked in Las Vegas. When they worked in Las Vegas, they had to go through the back through the kitchen. Although every entertainer today is still going through the back and through the kitchen to this day. But life has been great, and being an entertainer, being a comedian, and working every stage. And my first stage was Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, with Diana Ross. And just to be there, I almost quit one night because I said, I've achieved my goal as working in Las Vegas. And I'm going to go back to advertising. And then New York City. Then something went through my head. It ain't going to happen. So I love what I do. I love, like I said, once again, I honor my essence. I'm the most blessed person to ever hit the stage. I call myself the most successful person you've ever met. It's not how much money you make, it's how you enjoy your life while you're living. So make sure you enjoy your life and help others along the way to enjoy the life. If you know something, you can help someone, do that. I did that. I wrote a book called Laugh It Off, teaching people, make sure you enjoy your life. Laughter is the greatest medicine in the world. No matter what the situation is, at the end, you should be laughing. Well, when you die, and your last words should be, I had a good time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of having a good time, it must have been pretty full circle for you to be a young comedian, right, with people like David Letterman, and then to be on his show at the Ed Sullivan Theater. Must have been full circle.
Well, I don't know whether it's a full circle because I'm still going around. Gonna go around in circles. Yeah, I love it. And like you say, the Tonight Show over in that Rainbow Room, and I was whatever the studio, whatever it was, but all of the shows. Arsenio Hall was the best thing that ever happened to me. It wasn't Tonight Show. I was on Arsenio Hall more than any other comedian, and that's a lot happened there with the Yo Mama jokes. Me and Arsenio and Will Smith, that started America with the young kids. They loved it. And that brought me in with the young kids. And life has just been fun. And like I say, I'm still having fun and writing these new jokes with this yellow pad, this legal pad, because if they're not on this pad, they're not legal. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, what do you do when you don't have that legal pad with you? If you're like out and about, do you have something to do it on your phone or?
Always. Most of the young kids use the phone. I use the phone too for a note. You always got to, this phone is for notes. This is my wife. This is my everything here. What would happen to you if you were to lose your cell phone? It has become a part of your life now. I think this might be the greatest invention of all time. I used to think the airplane because I have a degree in transportation. But now, I remember when I was a kid, we would go on vacation, we would send a postcard back. Now, you can take this with you and share the ride of the vacation. I've sent videos with me at the Eiffel Tower, at the Olympics, not a postcard going back. So this is great. You can buy your food here. You can buy your airplane ticket. I remember you had to go to the airport, buy a ticket, and 2 weeks later you go back and then you go to the gate and they would give you a seat. I can do that now. I can choose my food with this little cell phone here. This is the greatest invention. I love it.
Well, I got to say, George, it's been great to have you on. And just curious, what else is on the agenda today? Do you ever dip into the Comedy Cellar? I went there over the weekend. That was great.
Always. Are you kidding? You go down to the Comedy Cellar and just what can I do a set? That is the most successful comedy room in New York City, the Comedy Cellar. They now have 4 rooms, 3 shows per night, all sold out all week long. That's amazing. And when you want to work out material, you can go down and do 4 shows on a night. That's why the New York comedians are better than most comedians because they get a chance to work out. And they got like 5 or 6 rooms in the city. But you can go to the Comedy Cellar, you can go to Gotham, you can go to the Comic Strip, you can go to Stand Up New York, and so many rooms, New York Uptown, Harlem, and Comedy Club, and you can work your jokes out. And if they're not good, by the time you do 7 shows a night, in a few weeks, they should get better. But there's always a few jokes that just won't come together no matter what.
Well, do you have greatest hits kind of thing? Like if it's not going well, are there certain ones you like to always use through the years? Or
no, I like to get to that moment. If it ain't going, very seldom I have it ain't going that well moment. And if it ain't going that well, I like to be able to say, hey, something's wrong in here tonight. They told me you guys were a bad audience, so this should work out fine because I got some bad jokes. So this shit should work out real good. And next time you got them going, And but it's fun. Yeah, that's great when you do a joke that's not funny. And maybe I did it tonight. You were there. Go, joke's not funny. Needs work. Joke needs work. Then I do joke's funny. Audience sucks. Oh, don't ever say that. They go crazy. Audience sucks. People want to be talked about, and be a part of the show. It's so nice.
Well, do you like the feeling of the Comedy Cellar where it seems so like everyone's on top of you? Can that ever be uncomfortable? Or if you make it in that environment, it seems like you can make it anywhere.
You have a sexual experience walking to the stage at the cellar. That's how tight it is.
Yeah.
Somebody touching somebody in an unwanted place. Trust me. But, we know that's our home, the Comedy Cellar. We go in there, and everybody who's anybody must go.
Well, George, I got to say, it's been a lot of fun to have you on the show. And what are you going to do? You're going to get off this Zoom, and then what?
I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm going to pay the man that helped me moving some of my furniture. Then I'm going to go down and do, we're going to do CNN tonight, live tonight, CNN. Have I got some news for you with Roy Woods Jr., my good friend. I'm actually his real daddy, Roy Woods Jr. He's from Alabama, I'm from Georgia. But we're going to have some fun tonight. Going to do a television show. But I want to thank you right now for having me on. And I know I talked a lot. We have to do it again because I don't think we covered anything.
No, that sounds good to me, George. Just from seeing it at the Improv to that party the next night, and then having you on the show, it's been awesome. So thanks for coming on.
You got a deal, and I want to thank you so much. You need to know that I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'm George Wallace, and we're here on the Jim Rice Unbased Show. Not Jim Rice.
That was good.
The Jim on Base Show. The Jim on Base Show. I'm George Wallace. See you next time.